I know shooting on NBA 2K25 can be kind of a headache for you guys or somewhat irritating, but today I'm going to end up showing you some of the best jump shots you can use on the game with the best bases, the best releases, but also I'm going to give y'all some help to finding a jump shot that fits your style of play. But as of recently, NBA 2K Labs end up doing a test about the green window in 2K, and the release speed is very important in the game. Now, with normal and quick having the highest percentages, you're going to see a lot of people end up changing to this over the past week or so. But before we get into it, make sure y'all boys end up dropping a like on this video. Make sure you also subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos like this. And there's a lot of information I gotta give to y'all boys, but the first thing I'm gonna talk about is hotspots. Hotspots in NBA 2K25 is very important. I'm gonna teach you how to get them very fast. Now, if you play My Career, this is one of the best ways to get it. You could play Sunset, but My Career is the easiest way to go. You're gonna play My Career, you're gonna go to your settings, you're gonna put it on rookie, you're gonna play between 5 to 7 minutes. I usually do 6 or 7 minutes, but you can get all your hotspots from the three-pointers, from the mid-range in a matter of like an hour and a half, 2 hours, literally playing about 3 to 4 games, at least making 10 shots from every spot, shooting at least above 70%. Shooting at 70%, you will be able to get your hotspot, but if you have a cold ring, it's going to take you about almost 15 to 20. But for the best dribble pull-ups in the game, we have Pro 2 dribble pull-up. You remember Pro 2 dribble pull-up from NBA 2K24? It is still good this year. Then we have Normal 2 dribble pull-up. Normal 2, I've been seeing a lot of people use this from guards, from 6'10s to 7-footers, even to 6'7s. You're going to see a lot of people mess around with this, but also a one that I've been seeing as well is Normal. Normal is one of those ones that's up there as a top 5 dribble pull-up in the game, especially if you're not starter 4. So if you're not starter 4 and you can't get Devin Booker, you can end up using Normal, but also you could try Pro. Pro by itself is still good as well, but now we got Kevin Durant. If you're one of those big builds and you want to end up having a nice little dribble pull-up, Kevin Durant dribble pull-up is good, and Dirk Nowitzki is one of those ones as well. Those are the main 2 I would choose from, or you can use Normal 2 dribble pull-up if you don't like those. Now, for all my small guards, I'm going to be between the 5'9s all the way to the 6'4s. I'm going to give you the best bases in NBA 2K25, but one of the first bases I'm going to talk about is Kyrie Irving jump shot. Kyrie Irving base, I see a lot of guards messing around with this, but most of the top guards, they're not really using this because they feel it's a little bit too slow for them. But if you're someone that wants to try something that's very fluent and easy to time, Kyrie Irving base is one of the best bases to use. Kira Lewis Jr., this is one that's actually somewhat slept on. It's a quick up and down jump shot. You can find some good releases and blends for that, and you'll be able to knock down shots with no problem. Then you got Allen Iverson. We always tell you about Allen Iverson is literally T-Mac for small guards. So if you know how to shoot with T-Mac and you're on a build like a 6'4", 6'3", it's gonna feel like you in 2K24 all over again with the 6'6s and 6'7 with T-Mac and Jarrett Culver bases just on NBA 2K25. Then the next base that's really slept on to me is Ja Morant. It's somewhat similar to Kyle Lowry. Ja Morant and Kyle Lowry base is a little bit similar. The thing about Ja Morant, he twists his body somewhat. So I would say you can use this. It's a very fast jump shot. He doesn't jump that high. It's easy to time as well. But Jacoby Walter is literally JT Thor for guards. So if you know what JT Thor jump shot look like in NBA 2K24, this is JT Thor for guards. I don't know what it was about NBA 2K24. Those bases that we had last year are mostly going to be small guard bases that's in NBA 2K25. And then I talked about it earlier, Kyle Lowry base. I've been messing around with the Kyle Lowry base. I used it on my D Rose build. It was a cool little jump shot to use. All I would say is just try to find some releases that fit your timing. That's one of the best things I can tell you when it comes to that Kyle Lowry. It's a good base to use, to definitely say. Then you know Stephen Curry. If you're going to use Stephen Curry this year, it's no point in doing max speed. You can do quick or normal. His jump shot this year is just crazy. But now we got to talk about Cam Thomas. One of the best bases you can use, especially if you're not starter 4. Cam Thomas base is up there. I definitely do Cam Thomas, Patty Mills, and KPJ is the best bases you can use if you can get them. But for now, the best releases that you can use, you have Stephen Curry. Having Stephen Curry in your release from the 1 or 2 is good choices. I preferably put it at the 1, but having it at the 2 is an easy visual cue. Bruce Brown, I prefer you to use Bruce Brown as a secondary release. Bruce Brown is a great secondary release, especially if you got somewhat of like a high arcing shot. Then we got Luka Doncic, one of my favorites. It's one of the easiest visual cues when it comes to using at the secondary actual release. Use Luka Doncic if you want a great visual cue, especially if you got like an Oscar Robertson with it. Then you got Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton is good, same it was last year. Same as using Darius Garland. Colin Sexton and Darius Garland releases are still good. Then you got the Nashon Highland. This is one a lot of people sleep on. on, I prefer you to use this as a second release if you're gonna use that as an option. Then you got Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard is a better second release to me. You can use like Oscar Robertson, Damian Lillard, or you can use Curry and then Damian Lillard release. But you already know Oscar Robertson is the go-to, one of the best releases you can speed up your jump shot with at the 1 or 2. It's just based on your preference. I prefer like using Oscar Robertson at my 2, but hey, it's all preference when you end up using these releases. Then you got Anthony Simon. Anthony Simon is one of those ones I prefer you to use at the 2. It's very smooth, got a good visual cue. Then Mike Wang release. Now you can use Mike Wang at the 1, but I prefer you to use Mike Wang at the 2. And it's kind of crazy that a 2K developer jump shot is in the game and it's actually a good jump shot, or actually a good release to use in NBA 2K25. Now you got Cam Thomas, Stephen Curry, Oscar Robertson. You can switch it if you want to do Curry at 2nd, Oscar Robertson at 1, and end up having, you can do release as the actual visual cue, or you can do how I got it right here. Mess around with the blending. You can do like 43-57 or something like 40-60 when it comes to actually doing blending. But with the jump shot, it's a quick jump shot off the dribble, off the catch and shoot. You can also rhythm shoot with this jump shot. It's just based on if you want to get the rhythm shooting down. I didn't really have problems when it came to rhythm shooting. It is very fast, so you just got to get the hang of it. When it comes off the dribble, it might be hard for you to actually rhythm dribble off of it. When it comes to catch and shoot, you should be cool with it. I'm gonna be honest, it's a cool little catch and shoot. When you actually get a good catch, it'd be green almost every single time once you get the timing down. Then we got Allen Iverson. I showed y'all this jump shot in the last video. Allen Iverson, if you like using T-Mac base and use somebody who's on a 6'8 or a 6'7 or even a 6'6 and use T-Mac last year and use you on the small guard, use Allen Iverson base, especially if you was good at using T-Mac base. Then you have Jacoby Walter. Now Jacoby Walter, you can put on release or push. You can change this however you want it. I have Cam Thomas as a release, and then I got Oscar Robertson. If you want to change the releases to you're doing, you can, but I was just messing around with a few things. Then you have Kyle Lowry, Oscar Robertson, Luka Doncic. You can end up having this how it is right here, or you can put it on release, but I prefer having it halfway, 35-65 max speed, because with this jump shot right here, what I've been messing around for the last few days, this one is the one for me. I've been messing around with this jump shot and it's been like, it's literally feel like a Terrence Mann jump shot, but it's very fast. It feels like a Taurean Prince mixed with like a Terrence Mann like base. Like it's like a mixture of that type of jump shot, and it's very easy to time, especially when it comes to the visual cue. Like you can end up trying push if you want to, but I'm telling you that in between release and push, that seemed like the best spot for me. But hey, you can try pure release or pure push, or you can go in between and just mess around with it until you feel like it's your like king. So I gotta show you this Kyrie Irving jump shot. Ninja ended up giving me this jump shot. He ended up changing his blended. His blended is like 70-30. Mine's is 35-65 just because my three-pointer is not like a 91-92. But if you want to end up doing his version, he used 70-30 for his blending. But this is a on release. It's literally on quick, not max speed. It's not very quick, and it's gonna be 35-65. But if you want to use Ninja's version of this, he uses this the same way, but all he does is change his blending to 70-30 since he has a higher three-pointer, since you only need a 91 three-pointer to use this jump shot. And I've been noticing a lot of you guys been rhythm shooting lately, so this is a jump shot that is somewhat easy to rhythm shoot. Once you get used to it, you'll be able to knock down some shots, but also it's a good jump shot that you can end up using square. But I know a lot of you guys are rhythm shooters now, or you're trying to transition to rhythm shooting. This is a good jump shot to use because it's not too fast. It's not like Curry. Trying to rhythm dribble with Curry base is very hard to do. And since I just showed you some of the best jump shots for small guards, especially the ones to 6'4", now I gotta show you aces in NBA 2K25 that you can use on those type of builds, 6'6", 6'7", lockdowns, poppers, ISO builds. You're gonna be out here with the Jared Culver, one of the best bases you can use. If you played with T-Mac last year, a lot of people use Jared Culver over T-Mac if they couldn't get it, but this is literally one of the best bases that you can use. Then you have Kobe Bryant. This is more of a spot up jump shot, like your lockdown, popper, things like that. I would say rock out with the Kobe Bryant. That's what I've been using on my lockdown. It's a very good base to use. Or you can use Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward is a faster base than Kobe. The thing I would tell you to do, make sure you put Gordon Hayward on release. Do not put it on push, put it on release. He has a very fast base. It's somewhat like Jordan Nwora, but it is a very good base to use. Then you got Clyde Drexler, cool little up and down jump shot, somewhat to Kobe, somewhat to like a Scottie Pippen base. Then you got the Jordan Nwora. Jordan Nwora, put it on release. If you use this base, please put this base on release, because if you don't, you're gonna end up shooting a lot of slightly lates or lates with this jump shot base. Then you have J.R. Smith, one of those bases that a lot of people sleep on. It was good last year, it's good this year. I would say I would use this more of a spot up type of actual jump shot, or more of like a catch and shoot jump shot if you're someone that's gonna end up trying this. Possibly you could do it off the ISO, but it's just, you gotta have a decent amount of space if you wanna pull up with this jump shot, because it does take a nice little minute off the dribble. Then you got AJ Lawson. AJ Lawson is a good base to use. It's up and down, more more of a corner jump shot, more of a catch and shoot jump shot. He does twist his body a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right based on what hand you're shooting with. I would say you can end up trying this if you're a catch and shoot, a popper, things like that. The same thing with Jaylon Tyson, one of the new bases they added to the game. It's a cooler up and down. It's a little bit like, I could say somewhat like JT Thor, just a little. You end up finding some good releases with this. You'll be money, especially out the corner, the wing. Even if you were more like the 2-guard, even catch and shoot. Even I think possibly I would say you could try this as ISO as well. Then with Lamar Odom, a lot of ones want to sleep on this, especially for my bigs like 16 and up. Hey, Lamar Odom, catch and shoot. Popper, catch and shoot. Lockdown, catch and shoot. Lamar Odom is a good base that you can use this year. Just try to find you some releases that can go with this. Lamar Odom, I used that the first week of the game, and it was actually consistent. Then we got Christian Brunn. Christian Brunn is a good one. It's a up and down jump shot. It's not too slow. It's not too fast. Find some good releases, and you will be good as go. And I'm gonna end up giving you some releases as well, so you don't gotta worry about that. Then you got Josh Green. If you remember NBA 2K23 Jimmy Butler jump shot, this is the Jimmy Butler jump shot. It falls away. He shoots the ball. He's gonna fall away from the defender when it comes to shooting the ball. Then you got Udonis Haslem. This is more of a player that got a low three-pointer, or you want to end up using this on a big, but you can use this at the 6'6" all the way to 6'9" actual rating. Then for the best releases, you got Charles Bassey. Charles Bassey is one of those releases mostly for the bigs, but it works well, especially for the guards and things like that, all the way to 6'9". I definitely recommend you to try to throw this in your release. You can possibly put this at the 1, but then you got the release that gets used almost the most, the Sadiq Bey at the 1 or 2, based on your preference. You can't go wrong with having Sadiq Bey in your actual release, so I definitely recommend you, if you want to try to put Sadiq Bey in your release. Most people use it at the 1, some people try it at the 2. Then you got Oscar Robertson, like I told y'all, for the small guards. Oscar Robertson is one of the most used releases in the game, so having Oscar Robertson at your 1 and 2 is just based on your preference. But Troy Brown Jr., I prefer you to put Troy Brown Jr. as a secondary release. Troy Brown Jr. as a secondary release is maybe one of the best secondary releases when it comes to these big builds, even you 6'5", 6'6", and things like that. And a new one that we had to end up adding to the spreadsheet is the Julian Champagnie. This is a secondary release. Do not use this as a primary release. I definitely recommend you use this as a second, but I feel like you still not gonna be better than that Troy Brown Jr. But then we got the Luka Doncic. Like I told you, Luka is a better second release to end up throwing in your jump shot if you want to end up having that Oscar Luka. Then you got Rudy Gay. I know some of y'all still loves Rudy Gay jump shot. They did slow it down. They did kind of nerf it, but you can use this as a second release if you want to, but we have better options. Then we got Paul George. Paul George, you can use it at your first release or your second release. I would prefer you to end up making this a primary release because it is very fast if you end up having a nice little cooler second release that you can visually see. Then you got Klay Thompson. I prefer Klay Thompson as a second release. As a first release, it's going to be a little bit too slow, but if you do like an Oscar Klay like kind of mixture, you'll be all right. But Baluba, Mike Wang, like I told you, Mike Wang released this year is one of the best releases that literally everybody's now on the wave, that you can use Mike Wang release and you can have a cool little jump shot versus using like LD2K or Ronnie 2Ks in this game. In the past few weeks, you know, a lot of people have been using Jarrett Culver base. So this Jarrett Culver is the consistent one that a lot of you guys end up seeing. You must see Jarrett Culver, Sadiq Bey, Oscar Robertson. This is my same release I used in NBA 2K24, which is with JT Thor base, and it's on push 53-47 blend, and this jump shot is good. It's great. I'm gonna be honest, if you're a catch and shooter, you want to rhythm shoot, you can do this with this base. You don't want to have it on very quick. If you do put it on very quick, it's still timable, but I wanted the bigger boost in the green window as of doing it on just quick versus very quick. And I noticed with me slowing down my jump shot just slightly and messing around with my visual cue, I've been hitting way more shots than I usually did with having it on very quick or somewhat on release. But I'm telling you this now, J.R. Smith, if you're someone that cannot shoot, J.R. Smith can save your, I'm telling you, it's gonna save your shot. J.R. Smith, Oscar Robertson, Luka Doncic, or you can change the second release if you want to. If you want to put Troy Brown Jr., Kyle Korver as your second release, you can. This is literally on quick. It's 1585, and this is on push. This jump shot right here, it don't matter if you want a big, it don't matter if you want a popper, it don't matter if you want a lockdown. This jump shot right here is very nice to use because when it comes to the timing, you can right stick shoot with this base as well. Like, you can really knock down shots consistently with this. But when it comes to the jump shots, I told you I got y'all with the bases in the releases, but for the jump shots, I'm rocking out with the Jarrett Culver, Oscar Robertson, Troy Brown Jr., 70-30 max speed on push, a slightly past push. But if you don't like it this way, you can end up changing the visual cue if you want to. But for me, this is what I've been messing around with. Literally catch and shoot perfect, especially you're on a lockdown popper, or if you want to end up changing this and put this on a Gordon Hayward base, it's to work the same way. It'll work the same way. It's just more up and down. You don't lean back. But hey, I definitely would recommend you to try this, especially if you're someone that used T-Mac last year. It's literally about the same. Jarrett Culver, T-Mac, Then you got Allen Iverson, T-Mac. They're both literally the same releases, just different names, and it's different kind of actual thresholds. Then we got Kobe Bryant base, Sadiq Bey, Oscar Robertson. Now this is what I've been using for the last few like days on my lockdown. I've been not going crazy. I think I've been shooting almost about 60% out the corner, 60% out the wing, and just knocking down shots with this actual jump shot. Max speed. But I told you guys before, if you can't get Kobe Bryant base, use Gordon Hayward base. You can put it on release, or you can put it in between like how I got right now. Then you got it on quick with the actual blending being 37, 63. This is a very consistent jump shot to mess with, especially if you catch and shoot. Also, you can use this off the dribble if you want to, but this is more like a jump shot that you can use for a popper, a lock, but even mostly catch and shoot. But even off the dribble, like nice little, you know what I'm saying, cook up, and you on the ISO, you can knock down shots very consistently with this jump shot. Now for all my guys that's trying to figure out the best jump shots for the 6'10", the 7-footers, the 7'3s, I got y'all with the best bases that you can use in NBA 2K25. I gotta look out for the big man. For my 6'10s to 7'3s, the best bases you can use, Chris Bosh. If you can unlock Chris Bosh, use Chris Bosh base. Andre Drummond is up there as a #1, especially if you got a low 3-point rating. Use Andre Drummond. One of the best big man bases that you can use with a low 3-point rating. Andre Drummond is on the top of the list, especially with the spreadsheet we got. Jonathan Isaac, Andre Drummond, you got the David Robinsons. Those bases are literally the top, maybe top 3 bases in the game for those big builds. Then I told y'all earlier about the Lamar Odom. If you want to try it, it's not going to hurt you. It's literally like jump shot 11 mixture, but it's Lamar Odom, and then you find a nice little release with this, you'll be good. But I got some releases that you can end up using, like I said earlier with the David Robinson. David Robinson is up there as a top 3 base in the game to me. David Robinson, especially according to the spreadsheet, David Robinson is definitely a top 3 base, especially for the 7-footers, the 6'10s, and things like that. So I definitely recommend you to use that. Then you got the PJ Washington. PJ Washington base is actually cool. It was somewhat like it was last year, nothing too crazy. But if you got a low 3-point rating and you want to end up using this, I definitely recommend you to end up trying out PJ Washington for your actual base. Then for the last base for the big man, we got Dwayne Dedman. If you're on a low 3-point rating build, you definitely want to end up trying that Dwayne Dedman. Like even if you're under like the 83 mid-range or 83 3-pointer, definitely try out Dwayne Dedman. For the best releases that you can use for big man build 6'10" all the way to 7'3", we got LaMarcus Aldridge. If you got that high 3-point rating, even a decent mid-range rating, I can say decent mid-range rating, at least the 84s, 85, try LaMarcus Aldridge as a release. Marvin Bagley, I prefer you to try out Marvin Bagley as a primary release, kind of similar to Marquise Chris, just a little bit different. If you want to end up using Marquise Chris, try it out. I prefer using Marquise Chris as a primary release. The same thing with Charles Bassey. Use those 2-3 bases I just told y'all as a primary release, but if you feel like you want to use him as secondary, you can. The same thing with Larry Bird. Larry Bird is more of a secondary release unless you want a high arcing shot. If you want a high arcing shot, you're going to put Larry Bird as a primary release, the same thing you would do with Dirk Nowitzki. Those will be releases that give you elevated jump shots. And for a new release that we add to the spreadsheet is Nick Claxton. You can end up using this as a primary release. It's a cool release that you can end up trying out, especially when you blend it with all these other releases. You'll be cool with this, especially as primary. Then you got Tim Duncan. You can use Timmy D at the 1 or the 2 release. Tim Duncan, it's just based on how you put these together. You can use it at the 1 or the 2. Tim Duncan, you can't go wrong. It's a cooler, smooth release that you can use at the 1 or the 2, and you're not going to be able to go wrong with it. Then you got Alex Len. Now, Alex Len is more preferably a secondary release. Do not use this as a primary release. Secondary release, Alex Len, because he got to actually good like visual cue when it comes to shooting. Then you got Dirk Nowitzki. Like I told you before, you can use Dirk at the 1 or 2 based on if you want elevation in your jump shot, you use Dirk at the 1. If you want it for the release, you end up using it at the 2. But then we got Bobby Portis Jr., BPJ. BPJ, I'm gonna be honest, I like using BPJ release. BPJ and like Julius Randle, those are maybe my 2 favorite releases for big man in NBA 2K25. But for some jump shots I've been using for the 6'10s and up, this Jonathan Isaac, Charles Bassey, and then Julius Randle, I got somewhat close pass push and I have it on 2080, and I dropped the speed. I didn't do max speed, I didn't do very quick, because I noticed this year with the taller builds, the 6'10", 7'3s, shooting is actually faster. Last year shooting was super slow when you was on a build that was 6'10 and up. Now I don't know what it is, shooting this year is very fast for builds that's very tall in NBA 2K25. And with this jump shot being on quick, I'm also able to rhythm shoot with this jump shot. Right now I'm using square, but watch, I'm going to be able to rhythm shoot with this jump shot the same way I did hold square, and it's very easy to time when it comes to using this jump shot base, because I'm gonna tell you tonight, this gonna be dangerous once you learn how to rhythm shoot. Now my jump shot, I always tell y'all, David Robinson, LaMarcus Aldridge, just Julius Randle 2575. I did lower the speed on this jump shot. Me lowering the speed on the jump shot definitely helped me end up making more shots, even though I knew the timing for the fast ones. But me slowing this jump shot down, it actually made me perform better. And I won't even knock you if you end up putting the jump shot speed on normal real quick. With this jump shot, all you got to do is mess with the actual visual cue. I think you will be fine by using my go-to. It's literally green. But for all my guys that got a low 3-point rating, bro, Andre Drummond, Nick Claxton, Jared Jackson Jr., max speed on release 45-55. This right here, if you got a low 3-point rating, like a 70, 76, even a 67, like this right here, I'm gonna be honest, you won't be able to knock down, as long as you got the timing down, you got the right jump shots in the zone. Because I use high risk, high reward. Some people might use other things like low risk or even normal. I prefer to use high risk, high reward, green or miss. And also you can use this with the right stick. So if you want to end up rhythm shooting, you can rhythm shoot with this jump shot as well. Same thing with the other jump shots I have shown you. But if y'all boys enjoyed this video, there's a lot of information I gave y'all and it's gonna help you. Make sure y'all boys drop a like on the video. That's first. Also subscribe if you don't miss more videos like this, all this information. Make sure you turn on notifications as well. But if you haven't yet, it's 2 videos on the screen. Make sure y'all go check these videos out if y'all haven't yet, man.